Hello from Stuttgart. I am about to use for the first time the Aorus Stuttgart airport that released this week. Prior to that, I had been using the Stuttgart airport that I believe was already being streamed by FS24. So one of the selling points of the new Stuttgart by Aorus is obviously the details. You can see, for example, there's 3 static aircraft. You can see the helicopter over there that are on display in one of the terraces. There's a lot of passengers in the terminal, walking, checking in. And I guess this new technology that some of the newer developers, or that developers are starting to use, is the walkable terminals. So in theory, I'm gonna walk all the way to the aircraft. All the stairs can detect my movement, so I could go up to the second deck here if I needed to. But I actually need to head to the security line here. And since I'm aircrew, I know I have a different lane I can use. So let's pretend we're gonna just go through these folks here. And I think we have our aircraft. Once we pass security, our aircraft, we need to head to the right in gate 114. I'll double check. But, excuse me, haven't been around the sim for a very long time since, I mean, my original flight simulator was back in 1988. That's how long I've been doing this. But once technology really got more modern, especially with the release of Flight Sim 2020 and now Flight Sim 2024, people were demanding, if you will, a lot more. Excuse me. People were demanding a lot more internal terminal details. So when you see something like Stuttgart, you can tell they really went out of their way to model the interior of the terminal, and like I said, to make it walkable. So there's our plane over there, so I need to move one more gate over. But these are definitely great details. I've never been to Stuttgart, but one of the selling points is the most current layout. So again, if you have Flight Sim already, 20 or 24, there is a Stuttgart included. It's from what Asobo, trying to remember, Asobo advertises them as the handcrafted airports. So they choose a few airports in each region, and they give you pretty much a detailed version compared to the stock versions. But obviously they don't compare to what many great scenery developers do for airports. And Stuttgart is definitely one of those cases where they did a fantastic job modeling the airport. So there is our airplane. And we should be able to follow the gate here. Let me see if maybe we need to go through the door. Let me see. I think if I go over one more, I should be able to get to the airplane. Yeah, and also the sliding doors respond to the presence of my avatar, so the sliding doors open and close too. Alright, so we'll make our way to the airplane and do some prep. We're gonna go over to Istanbul's secondary airport, Sabiha, which is a route that Pegasus flies. And if you have seen over the past week, so today is Saturday. Last Saturday, I bought the FSLabs A321neo. I was looking for a little variety, been using PNDG and Phoenix for the most part, but having read or just knowing and seeing how often or how prolific the Airbus A321neo is, you can pretty much do short haul. Like for example, you can do a flight within Germany here on Lufthansa, for example, or you can go 8 hours from the US to Europe or back. So the A321neo is a very versatile aircraft, and it is selling like hotcakes. So I figured I wanted to get an airplane that is very popular, that can give me a lot of route options. So I have not been disappointed by the Pegasus, not Pegasus, that's the airline I'm flying, but by the FSLabs 321neo. My comparison base is the Neos that Inibuilds includes in Flight Sim 2020 and Flight Sim 2024, which are pretty good for default aircraft that are included in the simulator. Oh, I don't think I was supposed to fall, but let's go in the cockpit. So as I was saying, Inibuilds has some very good default Airbuses, the A330, the A320neo, the A321neo, and then Phoenix has the Airbus CEO series, and Phoenix is working on the Neo version as well. But I didn't want to wait. I wanted to see, okay, let's just try FSLabs. I saw some of the videos, like folks like Emmanuel doing their great YouTube videos, the real pilots telling you what the airplane is like. And I've heard nothing but great things. The only thing, the overall consensus, which I agree with, FSLabs needs to do a better job with modeling just the visual parts of it, especially the exterior modeling. But if you're not very picky about it, if you're not very always on the outside view, which most of us are in the flight deck, you really won't notice. But you know, if you want to keep up with the other developers that have been studying aircraft for many years and are doing great, you want to make those tiny improvements. And FSLabs Neo eats up a little bit more resources compared to the Phoenix, compared to the PMDG aircraft. So they got to figure out how to optimize the textures a little further, and it'll be a great experience. And my last bit of feedback, well, I'll tell you one of the great things before I tell you my last bit of improvement feedback. FSLabs is systems deep. During the pre-flight, you'll see how I use the AOC, which the Phoenix is very limited right now with the AOC. And they also figured out VNAV, because right now, before Phoenix even moves on to the Neo or releasing the Neo, they want to fix the VNAV behavior on the CEO series, the CEO series of Airbuses. But with FSLabs, wow, that VNAV, whether you're going up or going down, it works really well, and you don't have to worry about having to do extra corrections to slow down on descent or to go down faster on descent. It really does the math well to get you to the right points during descent, so that way you don't come in too fast or too high to your final destination, which can happen with Phoenix. Not every time, but it can happen with Phoenix. So yeah, huge kudos to them. And like I said, if I had one wish, is for them to have a less sensitive ground steering. Phoenix Inibuilds Airbuses, when I use my, I use the Thrustmaster Airbus side stick and the Thrustmaster throttles for Airbus. They work out of the box with the Phoenix Airbuses, with the Phoenix, with the Inibuilds Airbuses, with this Airbus. You just need to do a little bit of calibration. But the room for improvement is the ground steering. I twist my side stick to simulate the independent tiller, so I only use the rudders for ground steering during the takeoff and landing rolls, those minor corrections. So this one definitely tends to overcorrect. You have to really do your twisting of the tiller, the turning of the tiller left and right. You have to do it very, very slowly. Otherwise, it will just overcorrect every time, and I'm still learning it. I have to remember that I'm not using my Phoenix or my Inibuilds Airbus. I have to remember I'm using a brand new Airbus. It requires less corrections on the tiller, and it takes a while to get used to it. So I'll probably make a few mistakes here, or not mistakes, but overcorrections, just trying to get to the runway during departure and then during arrival, just trying to get to the gate, lining up the plane carefully, because yeah, it can overcorrect. So it can be a little frustrating. Yes, I know I can create a separate profile with a less sensitive tiller output or input, But I would prefer it to be out of the box already, have a pretty decent amount of sensitivity, just like Phoenix and Indibuilds are doing. But again, overall, it's a great aircraft. So again, I've only had it for 7 days, but I've been enjoying it. I've been flying it every day. And I know it's been around a little while, but earlier this year they released the Pratt & Whitney engines. It initially released with the LEAP engines, and now we got the Pratt & Whitney model. So again, you will not be disappointed. And then I welcome Phoenix's Neos too, because Phoenix will have the A320neo, the A321neo, and then we'll be able to see how much Phoenix has improved their overall Airbus product. So I'm looking forward to it. I love competition in our hobby, so it's exciting times. So we're gonna go ahead and prep the aircraft for Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen Airport. Stuttgart delivery. Sunturk 972 information mic requesting IFR clearance to Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen.
Hello, Captain. We are ready for pushback.
Sunturk 972, clear to Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen via the Aptal 4 Hotel departure runway 07. Initial climb to flight level 050. Departure on 119.85 squawk 5212.
Departure checks completed. Bypass still inserted.
Stuttgart clearance, Sunturk 972, cleared to Istanbul Sabiha Gökçen via Aptal 4 Hotel departure Runway 07, climb to flight level 050, departure frequency 119.85, squawk 5212.
Sunturk 9072, read back correct. Ground is on 118.605, safe flight, sir.
Looking here.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Pegasus Airlines Flight 972, departing from Stuttgart and heading to Istanbul. We kindly ask you to take your seats according to your boarding passes and stow your hand luggage in the overhead bins or under the seats in front of you. If you need any assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to any member of our crew. Thank you for choosing to fly with us today.
Are you ready for the departure briefing?
Sure thing, Louise. Here's the departure briefing. We'll be departing from runway 7, flying the Abtal 4 hotel departure with an initial climb altitude clearance to flight level 050. Transition altitude is 5,000. After takeoff, we'll follow the SID profile. Weather at departure shows no significant issues. In the event of an engine failure below 400, we'll continue straight ahead and follow ATC instructions. Above 400, we'll follow the engine out SID procedure, climb altituding to 3,000 before turning back. For any abnormalities or emergencies before V1, we'll reject the takeoff and apply maximum braking. After V1, we'll continue the takeoff, handle the emergency, and communicate with ATC. We've been cleared as filed. Squawk code is 5212, and departure frequency will be 119.85. We're configured for takeoff with flaps 5. V1 is 142 knots, VR is 147 knots, and V2 is 152 knots. We'll climb altitude out at V2 plus 10 knots. I think we're ready to go, Captain.
Thank you. I am updating the takeoff data for wet runway. Stuttgart ground, Sunturk 972, requesting pushback and engine stop.
Sunturk 972, pushback and engine start approved, face east.
Roger, pushback and engine start approved, face east, Sunturk 972. Flight deck to ground, we have been cleared for push and start facing east.
Release parking brakes.
Roger, brake released.
Commencing push. Due to icing conditions, please stand by for engine start until push is completed and brakes are set.
Roger, we will stand by for push. We will stand by for engine start
Cabin
once
attendants, armed
pushback
doors, and
completed
cross-check.
and brakes are set.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard Pegasus Airlines Flight 972 heading to Istanbul. Our estimated flight time is 2 hours and 40 minutes. Please pay close attention to the upcoming safety demonstration, as it contains important information even for frequent flyers. Fasten your seatbelts by
While the
inserting
pushback
metal
happens,
tip
I
into
wanted to
buckle
just zoom in
and
very
pull strap
quickly on the
tight.
terrace and see
Seatbelt
the
must
models
be fastened whenever the seatbelt
of
sign
the
is
vintage aircraft.
Please return your seatbacks and tray tables to the upright position and open your window blinds for takeoff. Mobile phones and electronic devices must be
Today's a
set to
rainy
flight
day,
mode,
obviously,
and larger
so
devices should be
I
stowed securely.
probably would not capture every single
Smoking and
airport
loose
detail,
e-cigarettes are
but it looks
prohibited
really nice
anywhere on board.
overall. Again, just
Oxygen
having
masks
walked
will
the
drop automatically
terminal
if needed. Pull the mask firmly.
when I
place
started
it
the
over
video.
your nose and mouth and breathe normally. Life vests are located under your seat.
I definitely
Put it on and inflate it only
can
after
tell
leaving
it's
the
a great
aircraft.
product. It's
Floor
very
level
well
lighting
done.
will guide you to the nearest exit, which may be behind you. In case of evacuation, leave all personal belongings behind and follow crew instructions immediately. If any electronic device becomes hot or catches fire, please inform a crew member immediately. Thank you for your attention.
KLM 87 Echo, taxi to parking via Echo November Hotel Mike.
Please set parking brakes.
Echo November Hotel Mike, KLM 87 Echo.
Roger, brake set.
Unlocking here.
Before start, parking brake is set, takeoff speeds and thrust are set, windows are closed, beacon is on. Before start complete.
Tow truck disconnected. Bypass pin removed. Left is clear. Right is clear.
Roger, ground, we'll be starting engines. Starting number 1. We can see the pin ground. Dankeschön, Auf Wiedersehen. See you next time. Starting number 2. Another feature that FSLabs did a very good job with is highlighting the duration of engine start. So we're using a LEAP engine for this aircraft. So it's a normal engine start, relatively fast, but the Pratt & Whitney geared turbofan for some of the other airlines, the starting time for each engine is a lot slower, so which is true to the real world. So again, it's very systems focused, systems oriented, and you can appreciate that, especially those of you who are real pilots and know this aircraft inside and out. I think you will really appreciate it. So we got 2 good engines. After start, NTI is required. NTI is coming on. ECAM status, check. Pitch trim. Zero decimal 2 up, set, cross-checked. My engine 2 throttle that came with the Thrustmaster Airbus, it's a little bit jumpy. It happens to me with all 3 Airbuses that I use, Builds, Phoenix and FSLabs, so I have to correct it sometimes. Let's do our flight control check.
Turkish 1 Hotel Bravo, taxi to parking via Echo November Hotel Mike.
Echo November Hotel Mike, Turkish 1 Hotel Bravo.
Before taxiing, flight controls checked, flaps settings, config 2 set. Radar and predictive wind shear on and auto, engine mode select normal. ECAM memo. ECAM memo, takeoff no blue, taxi checklist complete. Stuttgart ground, Sunturk 972, ready to taxi.
Sunturk 972, runway 07 taxi via Mike, Lima 2, Kilo.
Runway 07, Mike Lima 2 Kilo, Sunturk 972.
Are you clear on the right side?
I am clear on the right side, Luis.
I am clear on the left side, Fabian.
Stuttgart ground, Sunturk 972, runway 07, Mike Lima 2 Kilo, and we have information Mike.
Here's what I was saying about the tiller control being way too sensitive, way too overcorrective. So you have to really make tiny
Sunturk
corrections.
972, contact tower on 118.805. Tschüss.
Switching to tower on 118.805. Sunturk 972. Stuttgart Tower, Sunturk 972. Good evening, holding short 7, ready for departure.
Sunturk 972, Stuttgart Tower, runway 07, wind 250 at 5, cleared for takeoff.
Lineup checklist, runway 7 confirmed.
Runway 07, cleared for
TCAS,
takeoff.
tower,
Sunturk 972.
tax off. Lineup checklist complete.
Approaching runway 7.
Clear on the approach. Elapsed timer on. Takeoff. knots.
V1.
On runway
Rotate.
7 remaining. 5,400 feet.
Author rate, you're up.
Sunturk 972, contact departure on 119.85.
Switching to departure on 119.85, Sunturk 972. Stuttgart departure, Sunturk 972. Good evening, climbing through 2500.
Flap 0.
Sunturk 972, Stuttgart departure identified.
Autopilot 1 coming on.
Sunturk 972, climb flight level 220.
Climbing flight level 220, Sunturk 972.
972. Contact Langen radar on 119.2.
Switching to Langen radar on 119.2. Sunturk 972. Langen radar, Sunturk 972. Good evening, climbing through flight level 075 for flight level 220.
Sunturk 972, Langen radar identified. Good evening.
Dear guests, the use of approved electronic devices is now permitted in flight mode. Our cabin service will begin shortly. Thank you for your patience and enjoy the flight.
Sunturk 972, climb flight level 280.
Climbing flight level 280. Sunturk 972.
Sunturk 972, climb flight level 330.
Climbing flight level 330. Sunturk 972.
Sunturk 972, contact Munich radar on 133.55.
Switching to Munich radar on 133.55. Sunturk 972. Munich radar, Sunturk 972. Good evening, flight level 160 for flight level 330.
Sunturk 972, Munich radar identified. Good evening.
NTS coming off. Okay, I'll pause the video here and we will check back in once we are descending into Istanbul.
Turk 341 contact, Mazatlan control on 124.6.
Turk 341.
Sunturk 9er72, I'm extending your downwind to get you down a bit. Turn right heading 230 vectors for the ILS runway 6 left approach.
Right heading 230, vectors for the ILS runway 6 left approach, Sunturk 9er72.
Tango Charlie Alpha Oscar. Charlie contact Bangkok Control on 120.5.
120.5 for Tango Charlie Alpha Oscar Charlie.
Tango Charlie Zulu Whiskey Echo contact, Cairo Control on 124.7.
124.7 for Tango Charlie Zulu Whiskey Echo. Good day.
Sunturk 9er72, contact Oceanic on 119.56, 5 squawk 2000.
Switching to Oceanic on 119.565, squawk 2000, Sunturk 9er72. Oceanic Control, Sunturk 9er72. Good evening, descending 1000 for 4000.
Sunturk 9er72, Oceanic Control identified. Good evening.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now beginning our final approach into Istanbul. Please turn off all electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate. Ensure your tray tables are put away, your seats are in the full upright position, and your seat belts are fastened. The weather in Istanbul is currently 10
Sunturk 972, turn right heading 250.
Turning right heading 250, Sunturk 972.
Sunturk 972, turn right heading 250. Sunturk 972, turn right heading 225. Sunturk 972, traffic at your 12 o'clock 3 miles. Same altitude, A320.
Roger, we have the traffic.
Sunturk 972, proceed direct S'more, cleared for the ILS runway 6 left approach. Sunturk 972, contact Gökçen Tower on 118.8.
Flaps 1.
Proceeding direct S'more, cleared for the ILS runway 6 left approach, Sunturk 972. Switching to Gökçen Tower on 118.8, Sunturk 972. Gökçen Tower, Sunturk 972. Good evening, established on the ILS runway 6 left approach.
2,500.
Sunturk 972.
Flaps 2.
Gökçen Tower, Roger. Sunturk 972. Winds 050 at 7. Runway 6 left, cleared to land.
Runway 6 left, cleared to
Cabin
land.
crew,
Sunturk
please be
972.
seated for landing.
Copy, Captain. Cabin is secure and crew are taking seats now.
Flaps 3. Flaps full.
Approaching runway 6 left.
$1,000.
1,000 stable. Landing checklist. ECAM memo, landing no blue, landing checklist complete.
$400.
Manual flight.
$300. $200, $100, $50, $40, $30, $20, retard, $10, retard, $5.
Spoiler, the $70 knots.
Auto brake off.
Welcome to Gökçen. Exit at Golf if able. Contact the ground on 121.58.
Exit at Golf if able. Switching to ground on 121.58. Sunturk 972.
Tango Charlie uniform Sierra Tango holding short of 06 left, ready to go.
Gökçen ground, Sunturk 972. Good evening, cleared of runway. Ready to taxi to the gate.
Sunturk 972, Gökçen ground. Taxi to apron 1, gate 0 via Tango, Romeo. Good day.
After landing checklist, radar and predictive wind shear off. After
Ladies
landing
and
checklist
gentlemen,
complete.
welcome to Istanbul. Did you know that Istanbul is the only city in the world that spans 2 continents, Europe and Asia? Thank you for flying with Pegasus Airlines. Please remain seated until we reach our final parking position. On behalf of your flight crew, thank you for flying with Pegasus Airlines. The local
Tango
time
Charlie
here is
X-ray
10:45
Juliet,
p.m.
Romeo contact tower on
For those connecting, please note the
118.8.
following upcoming flights. Flight number
Tower,
PC-123
Tango Charlie,
to
X-ray Juliet,
Antalya,
Romeo.
departing at 11:15 p.m. from gate 21, and flight number PC-456 to Izmir, departing at 11:30 p.m. from gate 23.
Sunturk 758, runway 6 left, taxi via Sierra Delta Juliet.
Runway 6 left taxi via Sierra Delta Juliet, Sunturk 758.
Taxi. Sunturk 3 Charlie Yankee, runway 6 right taxi via Kilo 2, Bravo, Bravo 6, Alpha, Alpha 1.
Runway 6 right taxi via Kilo 2, Bravo, Bravo 6, Alpha, Alpha 1, Sunturk 3 Charlie Yankee.
Anatolian 213 ready to taxi.
Anatolian 213, runway 6 left, taxi via Quebec, Delta Juliet.
Runway 6 left taxi via Quebec Delta Juliet Anatolian 213.